go live and I'm going to start letting people in, inshallah. Okay.
That's not very good.
Assalamu alaikum. We'll just give everybody a few seconds to log in.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. Lots of people here, MashaAllah. Assalamu alaikum to you all. Jazakallah khair. Let's have you all join. Still people coming and joining. Assalamu alaikum everybody. Wa alaikum assalam. Welcome everybody. Good to see you all here today. MashaAllah. Really busy. Good turnout here today so far. And you've got a few minutes before we start because there's a few people still coming in. Just to let your friends and your cousins and your neighbors and anybody you need to ask your parents to text and let them know to join the Quran story time. Got an amazing session today and tomorrow and Wednesday, inshallah, on Nuh alayhi salam. So we're really looking forward to these next few days, inshallah. So Jazakallah khair, thank you for coming. And great to see a few of you. There's Hannah there waving at us, Ustadh Sohail. Give her a wave, mashallah. And Hadi's there. And a few other people are there. I can see Dawood. And Sayyida's just a little bit out of shot. And is it Hatika? Hatika as well there, mashallah. So many people, mashallah. Very, very welcome. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for coming, inshallah. We're just going to give 1 or 2 more minutes for those people who are just connecting on their devices. Zunaira's there as well, mashallah. Zunaira's here and Afnan's here as well. Very good to have you all, mashallah. Really, really great. And those of you listening to us on YouTube as well. There's quite a lot of you listening to us on YouTube, I believe. Welcome. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. Thank you for coming today, inshallah. Really look forward to your participation in today's session, inshallah. Let's, whilst Ustad, I think we have most people here, let's just welcome you first of all. Assalamu alaikum, Ustadh Sohail. How are we doing?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, really good, really pleased to be back. Always seems a long break when we have the next session, isn't it?
Yeah, too long. So yeah, we've got to do more sessions, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Hadi looks really chilled out. Is he on his bed or sofa?
He's reclining there, he's just chilling.
Oh, mashallah, that's what we like to see in the holidays. And Sayyida is back. Before we had Sayyida's just clock we could see, but now we can see Sayyida, alhamdulillah.
Oh, good stuff. Have lots of people here, Ustad, alhamdulillah, and more people joining every few minutes. So Jazakallah khair, all of you who have just joined. Just a reminder, parents, we are live broadcasting this session on YouTube, so it is being recorded. If you're not comfortable with your children being on camera, then you can just switch off your camera, but we prefer for it to be on, inshallah. It helps to their participation as well as ours. So it's really great that they're here and participating. And friends and families of yours, do let them know, text them, message them, ask their children to join, inshallah. You know, we are doing 3 sessions today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. They're kind of like independent of each other. So if you miss today for whatever reason, still come tomorrow and Wednesday, inshallah. You'll get something of great value today, inshallah. So Ustad, I think we're all here today now. So it's amazing. Thank you for being here, inshallah. And today we are dealing with the amazing story of the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam.
The Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, yeah, one of the most popular stories that, in fact, the 3 main Abrahamic faiths, as they call it, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, they all believe in him. And it's one of those unique stories from the Quran that even the average person on the street knows about the story of the flood of Nuh and the ark and the animals that boarded the ark. So it's a very popular story, but we're going to shine a light onto aspects of the story that are not that well known, Ustad. Okay, shall we start with our guest reciter today? That's like my favorite part, Ustad.
Yes, of course. Let's do that.
Yeah. So our reciter today is young Hafsa. Hafsa, are you there?
Yeah, I just have to make sure Hafsa can unmute. Just bear with me for a second. Let me send her a prompt. There you go, Hafsa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's great to have you, Hafsa. Hafsa, I think it's about, is it a year since you had you last, or I remember it was in 2021. Was it a year ago or was it less than a year?
Yes.
Okay, mashallah. It's so good to have you back. And I can't wait to ask you how your journey is going in terms of your Quran memorization. But if we're going to talk about the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, it makes sense. We should start with Surah Nuh. Surah Nuh. Now, are you going to recite Surah Nuh for us?
Yes, inshallah.
Okay, mashallah. Bismillah. So, inshallah, the ayat will appear on the screen. We always prefer if you follow with your own mushafs. But if you can't do that, then inshallah the verses will be on the screen. Bismillah, Hafsa, go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه يرجعونك من قبل أن يأتيهم عذاب أليم. قال يا قوم أن اعبدوا الله واتقوه وأطيعوه يغفر لكم ويؤخركم إلى أجل مسمى إن أجل أخر لو كنتم تعلمون.
MashaAllah, Hafsa, amazing. Hafsa, can you come a little bit closer to the computer just because your sound keeps dropping? Thank you. Well done.
قال ربي فلم يزد دعائي إلا فرارا وإن جعلوا أصابعهم في آذانهم واستغشوا ثيابهم وأصروا واستكبروا استكبارا ثم إني أعلم وأسررت لهم إسرارا فقلت استغفروا ربكم إنه كان غفارا يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا ويمددكم بأموال وبنين ويجعل لكم جنات ما لكم لا ترجون لله وقارا وقد خلقكم أطوارا ألم تروا كيف خلق الله طباقا وجعل القمر نورا وجعل الشمس سراجا والله أنبتكم من الأرض نباتا ثم يعيدكم ويخرجكم إخراجا والله جعل لكم الأرض بساطا لتسلكوا منها سبلا فجاجا قال نوح رب واتبعوا من لم يزده ماله وولده ومكروا مكرا وقالوا لا ولا سواع وقد أضلوا كثيرا ولا تجعل إلا ضلا مما خطيئاتهم أغرقوا فأدخلوا نارا يجدون دون الله أنصار وقال نوح رب لا تذر على الأرض ديارا إنك يضلوا إلا فاجرا رب اغفر لي ولوالدي ولمن دخل بيتي مؤمنا ولمن دخل بيتي مؤمنا صدق الله العظيم. May Allah forgive all of my mistakes.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. That was excellent, Hafsa. MashaAllah, it was beautiful. We had a few audio problems. I think actually some of the notes you were reaching in your recitation, even your computer mic was struggling to pick it up. But that was, MashaAllah, fantastic. So Hafsa, tell us, where are you at in terms of your hifz? How many ajza have you memorized now?
So I have completed half of the Quran, but I am revising them. And
Oh,
then I'm going to do
MashaAllah.
half.
Is it the first half or second half, or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And what's the most difficult surah you're finding to revise?
Surah Al-Baqarah.
Surah Al-Baqarah. Most people find that actually quite easy because they start their journey with Surah Al-Baqarah, so they've revised it more.
I started my journey with Juz Amma. So.
Start with Juz Amma, MashaAllah. Now, the plan is now to revise and continue to revise and make the first half of the Quran strong. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when do you think you're going to go back to your kind of new hifz?
Maybe like in a few months or a year.
Oh, wow. So you're going to spend like good, proper time on it. Now, can you just give the listeners a bit of an insight in terms of your revision? How much do you revise a day?
So I revise 15 pages after school.
Wow, 15 pages. So your schedule or your timetable, do you do something before school or is it always after school?
It's always after school.
And how long do you have to spend on that?
So it's like an hour or like an hour and a half. An hour and a half.
Hour and a half every day. MashaAllah. And what about the weekends?
The weekends, I do like 20 pages, so just a bit more than usual.
And does that take an hour and a half or does that take a little bit longer?
That takes 2 hours.
Okay, so in the weekdays, 1.5 hours a day, and in the weekends, 2 hours a day. MashaAllah, that's real dedication, Hafsa. And tell us, in terms of your schoolwork, where are you at your schoolwork? What year are you in?
I'm in year 6.
Oh, year 6, so final year of primary school. Now, do you find it easy to juggle your schoolwork and on top of that your Quran? Do you manage that okay?
Yes, I managed that okay as well.
Okay, what advice would you have for all the children listening out there who want to spend more time on the Quran, but they kind of struggle to balance their priorities, leisure time, school time, work they might be doing at home? What advice do you have for them?
Well, I would say kind of like do the Quran first. So put your head towards the Quran and Allah will help you in your schoolwork.
MashaAllah, that's beautiful advice. That's beautiful advice for children and for adults. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala support you and aid you to strengthen your revision and also to finish the memorization of the Quran and make you from the huffaz of the Quran. Ameen. Jazakallah khairan, Hafsa. MashaAllah, it's great having you here and I hope we have you again soon, inshallah. Okay, inshallah. We're going to go back to the story. Ustadh Akhtar, are you ready?
We're all ready. That was amazing by Hafsa. She's inspirational, mashallah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. We have to have her again, inshallah.
Okay. So over to you, start for Story of Surah of Nuh alayhi salam, part 1.
Okay, so let's start the story of Nuh alayhi salam. Now, this is one of the stories which I've been looking forward to for a long time because people already know something about this story. And when people know about the story, it's kind of easier to tell the story and to build in the story and to go in more detail. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Now, the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, no, if we just go back one step, please. Yeah. The Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, he's unique from many different perspectives, many different angles. He's actually the first Rasul, the first Rasul. Now, you might say, hold on a second, isn't Adam alayhi salam the first prophet? That's correct. Adam alayhi salam is the first prophet, but Nuh alayhi salam is the first Rasul. Now, before I go any further, does anybody know what the difference between a prophet, which is known in Arabic as a Nabi, and a messenger, which is known in Arabic as a Rasul is? So the Prophet Adam, he is a Nabi. And the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, he is a Rasul. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he is a Rasul as well. Okay, Wajiha and Ridwan say the Rasul gets a special book. Okay, very good start. Okay, could we unmute Isa? Isa's got his hand up. What's the difference?
Isa, accept the prompt, please.
The difference is that a Nabi his like role thing is to spread the message of Islam, and he gets like a book. He gets a special book.
Okay, mashallah, that's good. That's good. And we had Abdul Ghani saying, well, Abdul Ghani and family, they had a comment. Let me just check what that comment was. It kind of flashed up. Okay, Shazad, Hafsa says the messenger teaches a new script while prophets teach an existing script. Okay, that's interesting. The messenger teaches a new Abdul Ghani and family said messenger had a message of Tawheed. Now, even all the prophets have a message of Tawheed. So we can't say it's just the Rasul who has the message of Tawheed. Okay, we've got a couple more hands. Ustadh Akhtar,
let's ask Hamza. Hamza, come off mute, please. Hamza. Okay, let's go to Amina then. Amina, year 4, and Khadija. Should you accept the prompt, please? Amina or Khadija? Yeah, go ahead.
A Rasul is someone who has a book and his own laws.
Okay. Okay, mashallah, excellent. Now, what the children listening, they've actually summarized the main opinions of the Islamic scholars about the difference between a Nabi and a Rasul. So one view, and it's not really the strongest view, is that a Nabi receives revelation and a Rasul also receives revelation, but the Rasul has the responsibility of da'wah. Someone kind of suggested that in one of their written comments. So this is one view. It's not really the stronger view. The stronger view is another view that a Rasul is giving a new Sharia, a new set of laws, whereas a Nabi has to revive a previous Rasul's set of laws. Now, the problem with that understanding is it doesn't quite fit Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam effectively was reviving the laws of the previous Rasul, Musa alayhi salam, with some changes, but everyone considers Isa alayhi salam as a Rasul. Now, the actual difference, or one of the views, not the only view, but one of the views, which is actually not very well known, which seems to be the strongest, is that a Rasul is sent to a non-Muslim people. So the Rasul has a much more difficult job. The Nabi is sent to believers, people who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people who are basically Muslims, and he is there to revive religion in their lives. But a Rasul is sent against a non-Muslim people. So Nuh alayhi salam is a Rasul. Musa alayhi salam is a Rasul. Isa alayhi salam is a Rasul. Ibrahim alayhi salam is a Rasul. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is a Rasul. Their job is much more difficult. They have to now go against, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used that word arsala, sent against non-Muslim people. But your ideas, they are very much mentioned by the scholars of Islam, and you'll always have different ideas about what the difference is. Okay, so now that was a nice, interesting kind of diversion. The time difference between Adam alayhi salam and Nuh alayhi salam from the beginning of humanity till the Prophet Nuh is not very great at all. According to some scholars, it was 10 generations only. 10 generations between Adam and Nuh alayhi salam. So now, from the time of Adam, people were basically believers. They believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Over generations, they had gone astray. The son of Adam alayhi salam, Qabil, he had killed Habil, but they were still believers in Allah. There was no such thing as idol worship. In fact, the beginning of idol worship starts just before the time of Nuh alayhi salam. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so there is only 10 generations between Adam alayhi salam and Nuh alayhi salam. And in fact, Adam alayhi salam is often called the second forefather or the second grandfather of human beings. We all as human beings are descendants of the Prophet Adam alayhi salam. He is the first human being Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. But Nuh alayhi salam is the second parent of all human beings. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed all human beings in the flood, only the sons of Nuh alayhi salam and the believers survived, and the only generations that continued into the future were the sons of Nuh alayhi salam. So all the different kind of races we see, we are all descendants from one of the sons of Nuh alayhi salam. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran when he described the sons of Nuh alayhi salam as al-baqeen, the ones who continued and survived. Okay, let's move on. So in the generations immediately before Nuh alayhi salam, we saw the beginning of idol worship. Now, does anybody know, this is a tough question, does anybody know the name of the very, very, very first idol which was made by human beings? Anybody know? You can use the chat facility or even you can unmute yourself. What is the first idol ever made? Hubal, good try. Hubal is one of the later idols which was found in Syria and then moved to Mecca. Okay, but it's not the first. I'll give you a clue. Hafsa mentioned the name in her recitation. Does that help in any way? Any other ideas? No? Okay. It's a tough question and you have to do some background reading to find out. The answer, okay, Jumaima, just in time. Can we unmute Jumaima? What does she say?
Is it one?
Oh, mashallah, excellent, just in time. Yes, that's correct. As Allah said in the Quran, when the leaders of Nuh, وَلَا تَذَرُنَّ وَدٌّ وَلَا سُوَاعٌ وَلَا يَغُوثَ وَيَعُوقَ وَنَصْرًا. These are the first 5 idols that were made by human beings. And the very first of them his name is Wad, or Waddun. Now, Waddun was a pious man who lived around Mesopotamia, around, I believe that's kind of around Iraq, and he was a very pious person. And when he died, his people were very, very upset. And one of them said, look, why don't we build a statue to remember Wad? And they said the same thing about the other four, Wad, Suwa', Yaghuth, Ya'uq, and Nasr. These were all pious religious people. And they said to themselves, look, we miss them. And if we build a statue of them, then when we are doing our prayer, when we're doing our meetings, when we're doing our dua, we will see the statues and it will remind us to be good Muslims and to be good believers. Do you think this was a good idea? What do you think? You can use the chat facility or you can unmute yourself. Was this a good idea to build a statue of somebody? Wajiha and Ridwan says, no, it was not a good idea. Why is it not a good idea? Why is it not a good idea? What's wrong with it? You're going to see the statues, you're going to remember these people, you're going to remember how they're very pious, because it's shirk. Just building the statue, that's not shirk. It is portraying him as a god. Oh, we're getting very close now. Okay, building these statues is actually what's known as a wasila to shirk. It's something that leads to shirk. Okay, Isa, can you explain? Let's unmute Isa. Why does building statues of religious people, why does that lead to shirk? Isa, can you unmute yourself?
It leads to shirk because Shaitan he whispers into your heart and he leads it into he leads it into various actions that end up to you worshipping it.
That is a perfect answer, and this is exactly what Ibn Abbas and others mentioned, that with one generation they just built the statues, but with the second generation the shaitan came and whispered to them and said, look, your prayers and your dua will be accepted if you go to this very special place where the statues are built. That's all shaitan said. So the second generation started to concentrate more on praying and making dua to Allah near the statues, because they considered the statues very holy. Now the third generation they came, they remembered that their fathers and their grandfathers used to pray to Allah and make dua to Allah near the statues, but they had misunderstood and they started to pray to the statues. And that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. So it's very, very important for us. And you might be wondering, Islam, why is Islam so strict on not making paintings of human beings, of not making statues? You know, aren't they very artistic? Isn't it very creative? Because this is a wasila to shirk. It's something that leads to shirk. Even the Prophet ﷺ prohibited, he made it haram for graves of religious people to become like a masjid. It's not allowed to have a grave in a masjid because people will get confused. They'll start to pray to the graves. And this is why it's very, very important to be careful with things like statues, pictures, and graves. Okay, let's move on. Now, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, he was sent to these people. Now, try and imagine that these people, there's only one community of human beings. These people, their grandfathers were all actually Muslims. This new religion of idol worship, it's only been around for 1 or 2 generations. So you might think that when Nuh alayhi salam came, they would realize their mistake and they would change their ideas. But this is not the case. Nuh alayhi salam, he came to them. He preached to them about Tawheed, about worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, about not worshipping the idols. And they reacted very strongly against the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. Whenever he used to come to them, they used to run away from him. They used to put their fingers into their ears so they couldn't hear him. And one of the most extreme things they used to do is that when he used to preach to them, they used to cover their face up with their clothes so they don't even have to see the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. This is how rude and disrespectful they were to Nuh alayhi salam. He is the first messenger, the first Rasul sent to human beings. He should be a person given so much respect, but instead they treated him with such disrespect. And even Nuh alayhi salam, he approached them privately, he approached them publicly, he approached them quietly in their houses, he approached them openly in the marketplaces. Every type of da'wah which can be imagined, he was trying to do that. And he did this for an incredible 950 years. 950 years. Can you believe that? Now you might be saying, look, people nowadays, they barely live to 70, 80. Maybe the maximum you're going to find is 100 years old or 110 years old. How was he giving da'wah for 950 years? Well, you see, people in those generations, they used to live very, very long lives. Human beings over history, physically, in terms of their lifespans, they have deteriorated, they have gone down. Adam alayhi salam was 60 cubits tall. He was as tall basically as like a lamppost. He was huge. And their lifespans were very long. But over time, things always decay and deteriorate till we're left to human beings today, where their lifespans are very short. So people in those days used to live for very long periods of time. And he was not living, but giving da'wah for 950 years, subhanAllah. Look at his patience. Look how many chances he gave them. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now, you might think in 950 years, he would have maybe a couple of million followers, you know, full-time job for century after century after century. Now, according to some of the scholars of tafsir, like, and some of the companions like Ibn Abbas, he had only 80 followers. 80 followers. That's incredible. That's like almost like 1%. That's almost like actually about 10 per century. So maybe one person every 10 years would accept Islam. Can you imagine, day and night, week after week, month after month, year after year, calling people to Islam, and only one person every 10 years accepts? This is incredible. And it shows we don't look at results. We always do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders us to do. If we were looking at results, if Nuh alayhi salam was looking at results, then he would have given up by like the first year. You know, if after 10 years, only one person accepts Islam, he would have just given up. And can you believe that some of the people who did not accept Islam were from his own family? His own family. His wife was not Muslim. One of his sons, he had 4 sons, and one of his sons was also not Muslim. So can you imagine how heartbreaking it must be that his own wife and one of his sons and the vast majority of human beings, they don't accept his message, even though they can remember that there was a time when nobody used to worship idols. Okay, next slide. So Nuh alayhi salam kept on patiently making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to Nuh alayhi salam something which was a shock. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after 950 years of making dua, after 950 years of giving da'wah to his people, Allah revealed that nobody else would accept Islam. That this was it. The people had had their chance, and Allah knows the future, and nobody else would accept Islam. So Nuh made a dua which young Hafsa recited beautifully. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ وَلِمَنْ دَخَلَ بَيْتِيَ مُؤْمِنًا وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَلَا تَزِدِ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا تَبَارًا. It's the final verse. Lord, forgive me, forgive my parents, and forgive whoever enters my house as a believer. Forgive believing men and women, but bring nothing but ruin down on the evildoers. So Nuh alayhi salam asked for forgiveness, and the order is very important because the order shows you the order of importance in Islam when it comes to forgiveness and when it comes to people who are closest to you. You start with yourself. You have to ask forgiveness for yourself first, and then the most important people are your parents. always make dua for your parents. رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. And then comes whoever is a believer from your household, which means basically your family, and then all other believing men and women. But then the end of the dua is the dua for the punishment of his people. وَلَا تَزِدِ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا تَبَارًا. Because Nuh alayhi salam knows now that if there is no one else who's going to believe, the only thing that will happen is that this vast majority of people will put more and more pressure on the 80 or so believers. Eventually, those 80 will be wiped out as well. So there was a time and a need for a restart of humanity, a reboot, like you get a reboot in a computer. It was time for a reboot of human beings. Now, in the coming 2 days, we'll learn more details about the great flood. But Nuh alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam are the only two prophets mentioned in the Quran who made dua for the destruction of their people. But the reason they did this is not because they were angry with their people and had just given up on their people. They did this because Allah revealed to them that nobody else is going to believe. Now, Nuh alayhi salam is one of 5 Rasul who are a very special club, a very special group of prophets. And these are Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These 5, which you have to remember their names, Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, and the Prophet Muhammad, they are known as Ulul Azm min al-Rusul. Ulul Azm min al-Rusul. This means the 5 messengers of great resolve. They had a lot of patience and they had a lot of determination in their message. They are the 5 of the greatest of all the prophets, and they are all messengers. They are all Rasuls. Wa jazakumullahu khairan. Ustadh Akhtar, I think it's time for a quiz now, right?
It is. Jazakallah khair, Ustadh Sohail, inshallah. And we look forward to Ustadh Masood providing us with tomorrow's session, where he'll be talking about what actually happened when the flood came and everything to do with that. So that's going to be amazing. But right now we've got a quiz for you all. So we hope you've been listening. This is your time to get involved, inshallah. And we're going to have some questions for you, inshallah. And let's see if we can get the first question up and running for you right now. So here's the first question on your screen. Who is the first Rasul? That should be fresh in your mind because we've just spoken about it. So who's the first Rasul? Is it the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Is it the Prophet Adam alayhi salam? Is it the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam? Or is it the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? So select one of those 4. A is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. B is Adam alayhi salam. C is Nuh alayhi salam. And D is the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So I want you all to put an answer in very quickly now. I'll give you another 4 or 5 seconds before we close the poll and see what you did. And let's do that now. Let's close. Those of you on YouTube, A, B, C, or D, you can write your answers in as well and put in the chat box what your answer is, please. And let's share with you what the answers were. Well, we've got a bit of a mixed bag there. We've got 3 people said Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and 11 people said Adam alayhi salam. And Adam alayhi salam is the first prophet, but not the first Rasul. The first Rasul is Nuh alayhi salam. So the first Rasul is Nuh alayhi salam. Well done to 69% of you. 31 out of 45 got that right. Well done, inshallah. So the first Rasul is Nuh alayhi salam. So well done. Let's have a look at question number 2. Okay, let's share this question with you. So how many generations were they between the Prophet Adam alayhi salam and the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam? How many generations? Was it 1 generation? Was it 10 generations? Was it 20 generations? Or was it 30 generations? How many generations was it between the Prophet Adam alayhi salam and the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam? Those of you on YouTube, you can type in A, B, C, or D. Well done to Nosheen, who got the right answer for the last question on YouTube as well. A is 1 generation, B is 10 generations, C is 20 generations, and D is 30 generations. Give you another 3 or 4 seconds to put your answer in. And now we're going to share the results. And here we go. And still we got a bit of a mixed bag there. Some of you said 1 generation, not correct. 7 of you said 20 generations, which is also incorrect. And 6 of you said 30 generations, which is incorrect. The answer is B, 10 generations. 10 generations from the time of Adam to the time of Nuh alayhi salam. Well done to around a third, maybe 2/3 of the class who got that right. 67% of you. Excellent. Well done, mashallah. Let's have a look at question number 3. Hope you were paying attention because this is going to be an interesting one. So question number 3 says, what was the main reason for the start of idol worship? Was it because they were building statues to remember religious people? Was it that idols always existed even before? Was it that people enjoyed worshipping something they could see? Or D, people wanted to build something to focus their attention or focus their worship on? So was it A, building statues, B, idols always existed, C, people enjoyed worshipping something they could see, or D, people wanted to build something they could focus on in worship? Those of you who got the right answer from the previous questions, really well done, especially those of you on YouTube. Not too many. Only Abdurrahman, I think, on YouTube got the right answer on the previous question. So let's see how you guys do on this question here. A, B, C, or D. Which ones? And we'll give you another 3 seconds to put an answer. Okay, let's end the results and share the answer. And here we go. And we've got a little bit of a mixed answer. So most people went for A, which is building statues to remember pious people, which is the correct answer. Well done to you all, mashallah. A is the correct answer. D is close. People wanted to build something to focus their worship. Not so much focus their worship, but they wanted to remember the pious people. And then Shaitan came and he told the next people who came, the next generation, these pious people, your family used to worship them, so you should worship them. And that's how they became gods and idols that they worshipped. So well done to 29 of you who got the right answer. And so we have had all of the questions so far. Not really get a full answer from everybody, like the correct answer. Let's see how we do on this question. What is the name of the first idol? Remember this. And Hafsa recited it for us, and we repeated it in the class again. We asked you the question, was it Waddan, Suwa, Yaghuth, Ya'uq, or Nasr? Which was the first name of the idol to be built in history? Was it Waddan, A, B, Suwa, C, Yughuth, D, Yu'uq, or Nasr? Waddan was la Suwa'an wa la Yaghutha wa Ya'uqa wa Nasr. Which one of those 5 was it? And we give you another couple of seconds to answer. Those of you on YouTube, don't forget to put in your answer A, B, C, or D. Which one do you think it is out of those answers? Inshallah. Okay, and we're going to end the poll. And let's see what we've got. And we've got a mixed bag here. So the most of you got the right answer, mashallah, which is Waddan. That is the first idol, which is A. Well done, mashallah. Most of you got the answer. And a few of you went for some of the others. Suwa'an wa la Yaghutha wa Ya'uqa wa Nasra. All 5 of them are mentioned in the Quran, in Surah Nuh, but they're in that order. The first one is Waddan. So well done to those of you who got the right answer. And let's now go to the final question for today. So get ready, everybody. What word is repeated 3 times in the first 2 verses of Surah Nuh? Hope you are paying attention. What word, is repeated 3 times in the first 2 verses of Surah Nuh? Those of you who have got your mushafs, you can quickly go have a look. Have a look at the first 2 verses and have a look. Is it A, Qawm, my people, B, Nuh, C, Ibadah, worship, or D, Haqq? So is it A, Qawm, B, Nuh, C, Ibadah, or D, Haqq? So this is a challenging question. What was the first words? And a few of you are still taking a bit more time to think about this. I need to rush you. Those of you on YouTube, please do give an answer. And well done to Hatika to getting the right answer for the last question, where she answered A. So, and for this one, as well as Mazina and Noshin, all of them got the right answer on YouTube for the last question. Let's see what you pop for this answer. Okay, we'll give you another 3 seconds to put an answer. Which one? A, B, C, or D? Qawm, Nur, Ibadah, or Haq, the truth. Okay, and let's share the answer. And the answer is, well, a lot of you put Nuh alayhi salam. That's not the correct answer. And quite a few put Ibadah and Haq. But the correct answer is Qawm. Excellent. Well done. A. Well done to you all. MashaAllah. Over almost 50% of the class got that. That's a tough question. So well done. Well done, everybody. And well done for getting all of those questions answered and paying attention to this class. Now, tomorrow's session is Ustadh Masood. We're going to start at 6:30. Now, I have a challenge for you all. So here's your task. Here's your homework for today. Your homework is to read the English translation of Surah Nuh. So what we heard today, we want you to read that. So Surah Nuh is only 28 verses. And it is the 71st, 71, it is the 71st chapter of the Quran. So you'll find it close to the end. I want you all to read Surah Nuh in English. So when you come to tomorrow's story, you'll understand the story. So that's your homework number 1. Raise your hand if you're going to, raise your virtual hand if you're going to do homework number 1. Let's see your hands. Raise your virtual hand, go to the reactions button and click that raise hand. Let's see you all commit to reading Surah Nuh in English for tomorrow, inshallah. Only 16 people, 17. Let's see your virtual hands go up. I want to see more people. There's 50, 60 of you on this call. Let's go. Abdullah, put your hands up. Let's put Umar and Zaid, put your hand up. Dawood, put your hand up. Afnan, put your hand up. Come on, let's go. Zahra and Fivan and Iman, we want you all to, inshallah, read Surah Nuh in English. Okay, well done for committing that, mashallah. Excellent, well done. Now, here's your homework number 2, inshallah. Let's lower all the hands. Now, I want you to invite one more person to come tomorrow. I want you to call and ask somebody, or ask your mum to contact somebody, or your dad to contact somebody to come and join us tomorrow. So it doesn't matter if they've missed today, because we'll make that up and we'll start from the very beginning a little bit so they won't lose anything. But we want you to ask, think of a friend, somebody in your class, somebody who maybe is your cousin or your nephew or your people that you're related to, or anybody. Think of somebody, and I want you to invite them tomorrow. So who's going to do that? Raise your hand if you're going to do that for us tomorrow. Hadi's going to do it. Ruby's going to do it. Zara's going to do it. Safwan's going to do it. Hafsa's going to do it. Afnan's going to do it. Brilliant. Amazing. Well done. Well done. So tomorrow, we want to see 100 people here tomorrow, inshallah, because we've got 55. So every one of you, and parents, please listen. Think of your cousins and your children's cousins and your nieces and your nephews and people of similar age, or maybe there's 2 or 3 family members that you could all get together and share the same device. Come and join us tomorrow, 6:30, inshallah. That's amazing. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Well, look, this is my favorite time where I get to hear from all of you, inshallah. So you can all come off mute and say salams, and we will see you tomorrow at 6:30, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.